Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's John Ross with the XPian Daily News Report. On this day, we're waiting for some more snow. We've done some snow commentaries. There's snow coming this weekend, so maybe 9 inches. I don't know, but that's what they said. So we're going to talk about our government in Aurora and the upcoming election, and we have a special guest now, Alderman Judd Lofchie, and I want to bring Alderman Judd up right now. It's going to come up on the screen here. And there he is.
Hello.
Is this your home office or is this some other office that you're at here?
No, I have an office downtown Aurora on Broadway.
Oh, you're at the city office, more or less.
No,
Okay.
no, not the Alderman office. I have my own office. I'm a lawyer and a realtor. And
Oh,
I have
yeah, right. That's another office. I understand.
Okay.
And you can see he's really advertising that he is running for mayor. There's three candidates. Judd Lofchie is one. John Latch, and of course the incumbent mayor Richard Irvin. And we've had John about 2 weeks ago now, and we'll hopefully get the mayor down the road. But we want to get Alderman Lofchie here, and we really appreciate him coming by. And so I just want to say thank you again for doing this with me. So we'll welcome Alderman Lofchie. And I'm going to give up the classic Ted Kennedy question. If you know what I'm talking about, this is the question that's a classic question of anybody running. Alderman Judd, why are you running for this office? Why are you running?
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me. I am running because I'm passionate about Aurora. I have been in Aurora for 25 years, and I've had my business here for 25 years. I've had an office downtown and by the outlet mall, and now I'm back downtown. I have an office in on the west side. So, I really love Aurora. That's why I ran for alderman. That's why I've been an alderman. That's why I, chosen community service. And I want to see it get better. And I think, some things are changing for the better. Some maybe not with crime, with shootings, but I think I can make a difference. I'm an experienced leader with results, and I think that's what Aurora needs. Someone who can hit the ground with their feet running and has experience, who's brought in businesses, who's created jobs, who's connected people with jobs, and really has a passion for helping people and connecting people and experience running a large business. And it's time for a change. So I had to either run up for alderman again, which I probably would have preferred, or run for mayor or quit. And I decided, you know what, we need a change. I don't want to do this again for 4 years under the current administration. It's time to give it a shot.
Okay. I've known Alderman Judd here for a few years, and he was a big help when we had some problems with Wayside, and I guess it got resolved, but it could have been better. But with some men story, it's a long story, but I wish it had been resolved better, and I wish we didn't. It dragged on for a while, and it's still somewhat hanging out there. Not really, but it wasn't good. So I thank him for that. I just wanted to put that caveat in here. What do you think, would you say right now is the highest priority for your candidacy?
John, I think the highest priority for my candidacy is fiscal responsibility. We are 1.1 billion in debt, with underfunded pensions being a huge, part of that, probably over 50%, bonds, obligations, et cetera. And I just don't want to see us end up like the state of Illinois. They went from 1 billion to 10 billion to over 100 billion. And I know this because I represent a lot of nonprofits. There's times where they don't get paid. I want us to pay our bills. I don't want to leave our children with debt. I don't want to, pass on huge credit cards to our children. And I think just, cutting spending is probably main thing. We've added 45 million last year to the budget, of a budget of 421, and this year we're adding over 20 million. So, we got to stop doing that. We know the pensions are going up. So knowing that, we need to keep our spending down. So, when we knocked on 800 doors, the main thing was property taxes. And if we keep spending money knowing that the pensions are going up, property taxes are going to have to go up. We raised our levy 3.1%. East Aurora did a great job, and they didn't raise it at all. They were flat. So, they watch their, I's and T's and Q's, and they do a good job bidding out professional services, which we don't. And I think we could do a much better job in purchasing, trying to get better deals on things. And our debt service this year is going to be 11.4 million. So we got this huge credit card of 11.4 million debt service, and we have to issue 3 million more just to pay for part of the 11.4. So it's like we have these two big credit cards. So people say we have a balanced budget. Well, we don't, because we're not funding our pensions. So we have a balanced budget, but we're not funding our pensions. So we need to get it together.
Now, I want to ask you this. Maybe you don't have this off the tip of your, I shouldn't have. I want to give you this question. On the property taxes, I know in Batavia that wasn't the highest property tax. Usually it's the school district. Is that correct? The city is not the highest entity on the property tax?
That's correct, John. The property taxes for the city of Aurora are, depending on where you live, 60 to 65%. But, my firm, reviews property taxes and challenges those in some situations when they're really high or really out of whack. And a house in Naperville will pay the city of Naperville, like a $300,000 house will pay the city of Naperville $500. But the same $300,000 house in Aurora will pay the city of Aurora $2,500. That's from the Naperville Township assessor, 5 times more. And our assessor is great. Davis Offit, it's not his problem. It's the city needs so much money. So we have to levy these big amounts compared to Naperville. They have a better tax base. They have downtown. They have industrial.
Sure.
We need to do better at that.
But what I was asking, so the school district, I'm trying to say the school district gets more money than the city. Or is that wrong? Am I thinking wrong?
No, they do. Absolutely. Both school districts.
So then their taxes are pretty high too. You're saying, and you're just saying all of our taxes are pretty high.
Well, what I'm saying is, just for instance, part of my ward is east, and part of it's the 10th ward, far east side is Naperville. But the school districts are doing a good job asking for the same amount of money each year, so they don't have to raise the levy, raise the taxes. The city isn't, so we have to raise the levy.
I get you. It is going higher, but it's not as high still as the school districts, but it is going up, you're saying.
Right, but the increase, John, is due to the city.
Right, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
so that's where you're getting some tax increase because the city is going. Of course, Aurora now split up the city with the library. That could be another.
Yeah.
That could be another entity that I don't know if you know that. I think you do know this, that Illinois has the most municipalities or entities of any state in the union. I think we have over 7,000, and it doesn't help that way.
But John, the one thing I will say about that, because I try and study all these issues. I'm a lawyer. I review it, analyze it. Illinois has like 7,000 taxing bodies, but like in Aurora alone, there's probably 500 SSAs, special service areas. They classify those as taxing bodies. And sometimes we create an SSA for development, like Pulte's doing a big development. We'll create an SSA for their pond. So if they don't clean up their pond and keep it up, we can tax them. So I think it's somewhat of a misnomer, but
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's how you categorize them too.
Yeah. But I'm also not saying we don't have too many forms of government. In Aurora, we have the township and the city and the county and the state, so that could be looked at as well, but that's not.
Well, some would say that's part of, I don't know. I don't want to degrade any of these entities, but I just say
Right.
some say that could be part of a problem too. Um, so Aurora's financial shape, you're is saying is not too great, and how how would with the taxes? How are we going to do this? Do we need? Are we going to get some federal monies here? Some help monies? We got the pandemic, and
Right. We got CARES money. We got forgot the exact number, but about 10 million from Kane County and DuPage County. I think we got a little from Kendall and Will. We're in 4 counties, but
right,
thank God we got that money because we would, the CFO said, I believe in June, we were going to be 20 to 30 million under budget deficit. Now we still haven't, at the end of the year, things look okay, but we still don't have the sales tax from the end of the year, and we'll see where we end up. But again, like I keep saying, John, with the pandemic, it's going up and down. We know there's issues, so that's a reason not to spend other monies. Like the urban administration wants to spend 35 million on a new warehouse for cars and trucks. I think it's crazy. I mean, we could renovate the 3 buildings we have for 4 million or spend 35 million, and that's an easy one for me.
right. I know they also. I don't know how far that's gone along. I know you have on your website. You brought this up about the moving of the casino. I don't know if that's in stone yet, but you know more about that. But
Chuck Nelson said at the end of the year they were talking about it, and it was on and off, but it seemed to be on. And there's really not great communication with the alderman and the mayor's office, so I really don't know where they're at. None of us really know. But if he wants to spend 50 million to move the casino, that's another thing. The neighbors don't want it. Penn Gaming that owns Hollywood casinos all over the country, they have like $500 million in the bank, or they did as of 12/31 of 20. If they want to move, great, let them move. Maybe we'll give them a deal on the land we bought for them, which also I voted against $10 million for land, but we don't need to subsidize someone with $500 million in the bank.
right, and maybe they're not doing as well either. I don't know what.
Right.
Maybe you know about the revenue income, but a lot of this gambling money is not quite as good as it used to be.
You're right, John. When we first opened up the casino, when it got going, City of Aurora was getting 16 million a year. Now we're down to 7 million. But I think that partially is because when we opened up, I don't think Elgin was open, and the Joliet, and now we have all these other casinos. We have video gaming, so it's still 7
Right.
million a year. And I'd rather take that 7 million a year and put it in downtown and education and programs versus spend 50 million of taxpayer money, which we're going to have to pay for. And because it'll be a TIF and it'll be, the city won't get money for 20 years. The casino was built about either 20 or 23 years ago. And this spring, finally, the downtown TIF that they created to give incentive to the casino ends. So that building downtown will start paying the East Aurora School District, I don't remember the exact number, but $300,000 to $500,000 a year in property taxes.
You think that's in East or West, that casino?
It's in East. It's in
Because
East.
it's zip code. I looked that up because I brought that up with the other candidate. It's 60506. So I'm just wondering if
I'm pretty sure it's East, but either way, whichever school district gets it,
well, some
they've
school
wait.
district, it's like one West Galena or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Galena, no, New York, one West New York. But yeah, you're right. The school, right? That's what TIFs do. They steal the money from like the school district. That's really what they're doing, unless some way they give it back. But that's what happens there, right?
Yeah, and they've been waiting 20 years, so let's give them the money finally instead of like move them now, right after, right when they're about to get the money.
Right. No, and like I've said, I think it could be $50 million. You're not going to get a good return there. I agree. I think that the other candidate was the same way. So this is not a great idea.
Right.
And right, it's not a great idea. I know you brought up about a convention center. I sort of love that idea, but I don't want anybody to really put deep money on that one. But it seems like it'd be a good idea. in some ways. What's your thought on that convention center thought? Would that be in the same area probably
Yeah, it
as
would be probably
replacement for the
10 million we
casino?
spent on the 9 tear down houses, or the 10 million we spent on Farnsworth and Bilter. The problem is, I've talked to people in that business, like experts that I know, and they said Aurora should not be in that business. You've got Naperville as a competitor, you've got Rosemont, you've got Chicago, and they
Right,
have restaurants and the airport, and we don't have that yet. And if someone else wants to do it, that would be great. I'd be all for it.
right.
But and I actually think that the pipe fitters building could be purchased at a reasonable price and expanded, because that's the only place we have these big conventions now, 500 people or more. But I think,
Oh,
if
you mean
some,
on New York there?
no,
I
the
mean,
one
I mean
on,
on Butterfield?
yeah, exactly, Kirk and Butterfield. It could be easily expanded, and let somebody else do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be very expensive too.
Oh, absolutely. And the city has so many properties. We have 4 properties downtown we just listed, and we're only going to sell one of them. But we have, I'm on Broadway. We have other properties on Broadway. They're just sitting there for
Oh
years.
yeah, I know Aurora's got I I was always wondering why we got all these downtown properties. Does that mean Aurora's gonna build the city hall? Is that the idea?
I don't see how we could. I mean, there's not
I
enough
mean, a
parking.
bigger city hall or something. I don't know, but you got all these properties around City Hall, and
Yeah.
I just,
We need to get them back on the tax roll. If the city owns a building, for public who's watching, there are 0 property taxes. We have to maintain them. People break into them. There's mold in some of them. Culture Stock, that really cool bookstore, had to move out because there was mold in the basement. We
right.
didn't fix it. Get it back on the tax rolls.
Okay. Okay, that's very good.
Yeah.
Let me see what was I had another thought here. Oh, well, out by the this idea of moving that casino and the rest. I don't know if that's a TIF would be out there, but that
Yes, it
school
would be a tip.
district, the school districts, out there is Batavia on that side of the,
Correct.
so there wouldn't be any tax money going to East Aurora School District. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Uh, yeah, but sales tax and others would go to the city, but that's a miss there.
Yeah.
Uh, I've always wondered why Aurora can't do stuff on the other side of the tollway. It's always on that
I don't
side.
know.
Well, there's some
Somebody.
land issues, but I still think they should try to do a few things on the other side of the tollway to help out east when you're,
Yeah.
because that big mall helps out Batavia
Yeah.
school districts.
Somebody made a mistake there. I don't know what happened. That was before my time.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while on that one, but that district thing's a long time, and it's 50 years or 100 that way. I mean, that
Yeah.
dividing line. Um, so you want to get the Aurora back in good financial shape and hold the tax line. During this, how are you going to? I know on your site you had some restaurants listed that you love, and
Mhm.
how are we going to keep these restaurants and others? Is there any helps the city can do for these restaurants and other basically
Yeah.
retail? I don't know of too much going down on the manufacturing side, but we know the retail has been really hurt, especially
Right.
restaurants. What you
Yeah.
got any thoughts on
Yes.
restaurants?
So last fall, we approved 1.4 billion to give to restaurants to help them out.
Really?
But we don't do a great job with these kind of programs, John. I'm just going to be honest. So we've only given out about half that. So you know, apparently it was too much paperwork or too difficult. But if that's, because a lot of small restaurants don't have a CPA or a, full-time bookkeeper or whatever.
Right, right, right. No, the paperwork, yeah, right.
But if we create the program, we need to create an easier program, right? And the mayor just came out last night with this announcement without Alderman approval that he wants us to spend more money on restaurants, another whatever million it is. But I'm like, we haven't even given away the first half. So why would we? It's like a purely political move, and it's just, I hope people see it as that. Seriously, I mean, we have 700,000 we haven't given out. Why would we start another program? Let's give more to the restaurants who need it, and then if we need it, let's. And I'm all for helping restaurants. I grew up in the business. I have a lot of restaurant clients that are hurting, but let's figure out the money we've already allocated and give it out before starting another program. Let's figure out what we did wrong.
I know my one friend at Treadwell has had his shop closed for a little while.
Yeah.
And
but I think that, with the finally us going to this new phase, restaurants can open limited. We
right.
have this great thing, we could make downtown like a entertainment district. We've got a casino, we've got the Paramount, we've got Rivers Edge Park, we've got the Copley Theater, we've got the Paramount School Theater, we've got Millennium Park. The old police station's turning into, we're going to turn into a music venue. We could really make a go of Aurora being an arts entertainment. We have the venue for great music that's inside and outside, but we need to market it, right? We have this first Friday. There's thousands of people walking around sometimes if it's nice.
Right.
I don't think people know about it. I don't think people know how fun it is. You go from place to place and look at art, and it's really fun. We need to do more of that for our restaurants to bring in people in.
Yeah, there's a lot of those ideas, like you mentioned. I know we one time had First Night in Aurora, which I helped out and participated with, and that's sort of, I think that was sort of the build up to all these things, because that was that idea of walking around on New Year's Eve to different spots.
Yeah.
And I think that built up to these ideas about First Friday. And
Right.
no, that's a good idea, and we got to help our restaurants. And I know that now. One issue that I've looked into in the past a little on Aurora, didn't do too deep digging, but about money and giving and ethics. That's an issue that I know you want to really touch on, is how this money based, well, it happens in all politics, but we really want to be more transparent. The more transparent, the better. And so what's your thoughts about the ethics and our contributions and giving things there? What's your thoughts?
So the newspaper called out the mayor for taking, these large donations. Like the guys who are doing Copley gave 25,000 to the mayor and received 12 million in incentives, and another group gave 20,000, and another group gave 12,000. And I worked on an ethics ordinance, drafted it, handed it in, and helped. They changed it, but at least it was the instigation to have an ethics ordinance passed. If you do business with the city of Chicago or Cook County, you can only give a candidate $1,500 during an election cycle, 4-year period. I propose double it because they said, well, what can we compare it to? Well, Arlington Heights is 1,000 if you've done business, so we're 3 times the size of Arlington Heights. Let's do $3,000. You can only give 3,000, not 20,000, not 25. But the committee that was handling it didn't want to put a cap on it. So I would push for a cap on that because there's just too much money in politics. Even though technically right now it's legal, it's the impropriety, the look of it. It just looks like pay to play. It's wrong.
Yeah, I forget. I did see this. I haven't looked at your filings or John Latch's, but I did look a while ago at the mayor's, and I know this is when we were working with the mayor on certain issues there and I noticed that the railroad had given a good amount of money, Burlington Northern, to the mayor. And the former mayor, our late Mayor Weissner, he was pretty watching on the trains coming through Aurora and the coal train, and especially the oil trains. I haven't been out as much. I'm sure the oil trains and coal trains are still going through downtown Aurora. And I think we were worried about the oil train, going off track. And the responsibility for that type of thing is, well, it's very tough to on the railroads because they got a lot of leeway. It's but you can have
John,
certain ordinances going through your town and other things, but it's still pretty tough. But I would assume that the railroad didn't like Mayor Weissner's bringing up these things that much about the railroad having a problem.
I don't know, but I just don't think someone should give a candidate $25,000 or $20,000. It's too much. Just too much. And like I said, even if it's legal, I think 3,000 would be plenty. And I think the people who have businesses in town would be thrilled to not get the calls. Hey, how about more money? How about more, for 4 years, I haven't taken more than $3,000, I don't think, from any business or person. Myself, I put in more than that, obviously, but so far I haven't done that. And
I think the mayor's campaign coffer is over $250,000, and there's a lot of givers of probably lawyers and businesses, etc. And so, like I brought up, the railroad be one too. So the more public knows of these things, we can watch how people react and what they do, and how we vote and what we're going to be doing.
And John, I don't think money is for people to think, oh, well, no one can beat the mayor because he's got all this money. Well, in the primary last time, 4 years ago, the candidate with the most money times 5 didn't make it out of the primary. So, I think Aurora voters are, there's a lot of people been here a long time, and the people that vote, and they're watching it. The money and mailers don't always win. And I think that's the message that hopefully, we can send people who have lots of money, that just because you keep mailing us stuff or just because you have a lot of money, we're looking for a leader with ethics and integrity and experience, and someone who's focused on the job and who is going to, I'm the only one who got an ethics ordinance passed, and there was resistance from the city hall to put a cap on it. And that's wrong. If I got elected, I would push hard to put a cap on it. And that would even though it would be against my own interest, if I could become the mayor, why would I want a cap on it? Because, the mayor is the one who gets all the money. Well, I still think it's wrong. So I would definitely put a cap on it. I think 3,000 is enough.
Yes. On these issues, though, and if I'm not mistaken, it's the alderman got to do it. The mayor doesn't have any signature on this, right? He doesn't have to sign bills.
That's true, John. But honestly, the reality is Aurora's it's called a strong mayor form of government.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
He pretty much sets the agenda. Aldermen have very little input on things. I was lucky to get an ethics ordinance, even running up the flagpole, because we don't have much cooperation. We don't get much, with committees. The mayor's office picks all the committee people. You can see the mayor's picking all the people for the Civilian Review Board. I said, no, let's have different groups. The Hispanic American Heritage Group and the Indian Outreach Committee and the African American. Those committees should have been able to pick a person for the Civilian Review Board instead of the mayor picking all 9, and didn't get anywhere.
Yeah, I saw that listing of the people. Yeah, some people I knew, some I didn't, but it was very interesting. And that's coming up pretty soon, I guess, the final part of that, I guess. So this ethics and transparency is very important, and I know you want to do that. So, you know what? I'm getting feedback from this is strange. I'm getting feedback from
Might be the train going by. You mentioned the train.
I should have turned that off. I think that's what's.
John, I would say one more thing on the transparency. But Aurora has a Aurora Community Television, right? We've got Are you there?
What did I do here? Hold it. I know what I did. Excuse me.
Okay.
My thing popped out of my I had this happen once before. It was strange. Popped out. Anyway, go on.
I was just going to say, Aurora has its own television station, and
Right.
Naperville has a great one, and they have like 30 people working there, and they have great programs. Ours is basically closed, and I don't know
Right.
why.
It got shut down a few years ago, basically. I don't know why it got shut down, but something happened there and it just like sort of went down the tubes.
But not everybody uses social media, but we need to broadcast all these things on every possible way, whether it's
Right.
Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, but the TV station too. We should be using that. We should broadcast every major meeting on television and on the internet and on YouTube. And that's real transparency. And if elected mayor, I would push for that hard.
Yeah. Well, I think Aurora should have a more of a television type thing, and I agree
Yeah,
with that. And
yeah,
that's partly a reason why I'm doing this too, and doing some of the Aurora segments because there's
yeah.
not much from the from that distribution you mentioned downtown there. It's not
You
it's
know,
limited.
it's similar to other things, John. It's a great asset that's being underutilized, right? And we have an airport that, since I've been elected
Yeah,
mayor, elected alderman, Freudian slip. We haven't had a full-time airport manager. I've given a resume of a fellow who brought in $20 million in grants. We need a full-time airport manager. We could build that up like Rockford and DuPage. We have
right. It's
on-night
hardly
Aurora.
heard of. It's
What's
hardly
that?
heard of. People hardly know there's an Aurora airport.
I know, but there's an airport committee that I don't think that they have, you know, much input of what's going on, unfortunately. And then we have the online Aurora, this broadband that's going around the city that we could tap into and give people deals on internet. And another thing that we don't use. We need to use these assets we have. So I
Yeah,
would work
well,
on those two things for sure.
I know one friend has been at the Aurora airport, but I know it's very limited.
Yeah,
People know about it. It's just like a lot of people hear about the page. They know about the page. Well, it's
right.
it's different in a lot of ways, but still, Aurora Airport should be
Yeah. We can
pushed a
land a
lot more.
737 there. 737 could land there, and we don't utilize it. It's terrible.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And that's one other thing. So those are some of the things that you want to give a little wrap up of what you're
Sure,
thinking about the future here in Aurora and your campaign, and just
sure.
we'll do that. And I'll
Thanks.
put up your websites here too in a minute. Yeah.
Okay, I appreciate it. Uh, yeah, I mean, I think we need someone, like I've said before, who's got a passion for Aurora, who's focused on the job, and has experience running a large business. This is a $450 million business. We need someone who knows how to run a business, knows how to make payroll, knows how to manage people. I have, I think, 10 people right now that I manage between a lawyer, paralegals, and realtors. Um, that's important, right? And I think we need someone who's got a history of bringing in businesses, because that's what a mayor should do, in my opinion. I brought in 30 businesses into Aurora. The last one was just a few months ago when Restore opened on the west side in that old um, Party
Right.
City and Office Depot at Orchard Indian Trail, and I helped Factor 75 next door. They were ready to pull the plug, but I helped keep them involved, and they bought the building, and they're going to create 200 new jobs there. From Montessori schools to restaurants to retail businesses over the last 25 years, I've helped represent, bring in, call, knock on doors, 30 businesses. We need that. We need that downtown, probably more than anywhere, and on the west side. West Plaza, where I have an office, is bleak. It's not awful or anything, but it's just we need a shot in the arm. There's a closed Walmart. There's a closed Hobby Lobby that supposedly guy's going to open a
Right.
thing, but we need someone to be able to do that, who's got a track record and really knows all the players. It took me probably 2 or 3 years to really, even though I had been working as a lawyer and a realtor here, there's a lot of nuances, a lot of personalities, a lot of different departments that you need to get to know. And luckily, I know those. And, I'm a green guy. I'd love to see the city being more green. And I put my money where my mouth is. I have a electric car. My wife has a hybrid. I've had electric car for 4 years now and a hybrid before that. And I've been on the Green Fest committee and volunteer for many, many, many years. I'm a Rotarian, so I'm involved with the community. I started Aurora Business United, which is a big networking group. We have 2,500 people, of which about 100 show up at the library once a month. Although now we're on only on Facebook, so we get maybe half that. But still, 40 or 50 people. It's a free networking group, and I'm great at connecting people with jobs. Anyone who knows me knows that I do that, and I have a big heart. I started Streetwise Newspaper of the Homeless in 1992. I'm still on the board, still help vendors out, still do whatever I can, what they need. And I help my wife Susan and I volunteer at Hesser House once or twice a month. We cook dinner, cook breakfast, we work in the store, we bring them clothes. You know, we need a leader who's compassionate, integrity, and who serves others. I really believe that's what we need. And that's why I think I'd be the perfect person to make a change to. And my name is Judd Lofchie. I'm running for mayor, and I ask for your vote on April 6th. And early voting, you can go on to Kane County, DuPage County. Even right now, I know you can with Kane and request a ballot. They won't mail them out yet till probably after the February 23rd primary. But April 6th it's time we need a change, and I ask for your support.
Thank you. And here, thank you for that. And we have a couple of things. Again, it's Facebook. It's Judd for Aurora at facebook.com. And it's the same name, really, with the website. It's Judd for Aurora.com.
Right.
And so just think of those two places if you want to get more information and get involved with Judd on what he's doing here. And I thank him for being with me today. Alderman.
Thank you, John. Thanks for being. Thank you, and for the show, and for being a Kiwanian, being a service member, and a former president of Wayside Cross Mission, who helps a lot of people. You do a lot for the community, including the show, and I think a lot of people really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for saying that. And I appreciate you. And we're going to have, be honest with you, I think we got some good candidates in Aurora, and I think that's a good, proud thing too. But I want to show each of them off here, and I appreciate Judd being with me today. And I want to bring up something that some of us, before we wrap it up here, just remember the COVID-19 test at the VNA in Aurora and Batavia, and there's the number down there, 892-4355. Just remember that one. And on Monday, Lord willing, and everything, I know the snow will be removed by then, so we won't have any problem. But we're going to have snow this weekend, folks. And I already prepped this man here, Judd, and I'll have to prep John and the mayor. You got to get that snow removed, or else you're in big doo-doo. It can be a big problem. And I had one friend who sent me a little about snow plow. No, I did something about snow plowing, and somebody said, "Oh, that's socialist." And then another person said, "Well, what about highways?" I go, "Yeah."
It's what your property taxes go for, snow plowing, right? Part of it.
It's a very good thing, unless everybody wants to go out and just do the little. Well, that'd be very difficult. We're very happy that we have snow plowing. Yeah. So anyway, on Monday we have Bill Catching, and he's going to talk about what the township does and about this COVID-19. So that's what's coming up on Monday. So I just again want to thank Alderman Judd for Judd Lofchie to be with me today. And we'll just say right now till Monday, till we meet again, God bless out there, and bye-bye. Again, thank you, Alderman Judd. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.